guys, this is Etan, son of SunBros. Today we're going to be knocking out yet another Hero Spotlight video, and we're going to be doing it on Chou, the Kung Fu Boy. And remember guys, if you guys enjoy the content, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and leave us awesome comments below. We love to read them and respond and interact with all our viewers, so we really appreciate it. Alright, so on to the Kung Fu Boy. I have a lot of mixed emotions on Chou. I think that he has a lot of really great strengths and a lot of really oppressive weaknesses. So we're going to cover that today in this video. Now, even though I find playing Chou to be extremely fun, I've also found that playing certain matchups in solo queue make it virtually impossible for Chou to make a big impact on the game. Now, Chou's greatest strength is that he has incredible and unparalleled CC. I mean, his passive, his first ability, and his third ability, his ultimate, all offer some form of crowd control. Alright, so let's go ahead and hop into Chou's kit and start talking about its abilities. His first ability is his passive Only Fast. After every 8 yards of movement, the next basic attack deals extra damage and stuns the enemy for a while. Chou's passive is actually the key to unlock Chou's kit. He uses his passive to stun the enemy and unlock the crowd control train of death that he puts on them. Now, his passive Only Fast also makes it pretty easy to poke ranged enemies early game. You can come out of a bush, hit your enemy with one auto attack, stun him, get a couple more auto attacks, or use your first ability Jeet Kune Do to knock him airborne, continue that CC train, and then just back off as soon as they land. Alright, now on to Jeet Kune Do, Chou's first ability. With Jeet Kune Do, Chou punches, and it can be cast 3 times in a row. It deals a pretty substantial amount of damage, and the first 2 punches will lower the target's movement speed by 60%, while the third punch will knock all nearby enemies airborne. It's a pretty significant and large area. Alright, now on to Chou's second ability, Shunpo. Shunpo is a short dash. It will only get you over the tiniest walls in the entire game. But while he's dashing, he's invincible and immune to crowd control skills while the dash is happening. So the 2 main ways that I use Shunpo is, number 1, I use it to charge the enemy to get that passive stun off and start my CC train, or 2, I use it to try to get away. And unfortunately, that's why I think it's one of the most underwhelming abilities in the game. It's not very useful at all for doing what it's intended to do, and that's getting out of danger, getting out of bad situations. I find that it's a very glitchy ability for me, and it doesn't really help me get the job done to get to safety. Alright, so now on to Chou's final ability and his ultimate, the Way of the Dragon. Now, while I find Shunpo to be one of the most underwhelming abilities in the game, I find the Way of the Dragon to be one of the coolest. So what Chou does with the Way of the Dragon is he essentially does a roundhouse kick and kicks his enemy back, dealing a pretty substantial amount of damage, and then if you hit it again, he goes to wherever that enemy ended up and kicks him a bunch of times in the air, but you got to do it very quickly. So from the beginning of you using this ability till the time the enemy lands from getting kicked a bunch of times in the face by you, he's crowd controlled. He can't cast any abilities, he can't do any damage to you. Now, Chou's ultimate is obviously one of the main cogs of the CC train of death. And now that we've discussed all of Chou's abilities, we'll talk about how to use them in tandem in order to execute the crowd control train of death. Now, one thing I want to cover before we go into using combos is that Chou's ultimate is going to knock the enemy back in the direction that Chou is facing. So his positioning is extremely important. You want to make sure that you're always facing him in the direction that you want to kick somebody back in. Alright, so first we'll cover the 1v1 combo. What we're going to do is we're going to hit our second ability, Shunpo. We're going to do our dash, our little dash into the enemy. We're going to auto attack him. With that auto attack is going to cause the passive to go off, which is going to do extra damage and stun the enemy. We're going to use that little time we have while the enemy's stunned to reposition Chou in the direction that we want to knock the enemy back in. Now, when you're doing your combo in a teamfight situation, it's very similar but a little bit different. You're not going to lead with your passive and your stun. You're actually going to lead in with Jeet Kune Do because you don't want to get CC'd. So if you knock up all the enemies around in that teamfight situation, you're more likely going to be able to land and do your ult and kick yourself and the enemy out of everyone else's range to be able to finish them off somewhere else. Now, when you get good with Chou, you can actually pick out somebody from the crowd that you want to do this to in order to essentially take them out of the fight. Alright guys, so all in all, Chou's a really fun hero to play. Obviously, I'm not a huge fan of Shunpo, but Jeet Kune Do and the Way of the Dragon make him still worth playing. Honestly, one of the funnest things to do in this game is what I call the crowd control train of death. When I'm able to open up our 1v1 fight with a stun, kick you and punch you around and knock you up, and then you're dead before you ever get to cast an ability or an auto attack, that's a lot of fun for me. Not a lot of fun for you, but you should play Chou if you want to do it. Alright guys, well that's it for this one. Appreciate you guys watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you guys enjoy our content, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and please leave us comments below. We'd love to interact with all our viewers and discuss this amazing game that we all love to play. I'd like to give a little shout out to all of our foreign community. We have a lot of supporters that watch our videos and subscribe from outside of the United States where I live, and I just want to give you guys a thumbs up. I appreciate all your support, and we continue to make these videos for you guys because we really enjoy interacting with you and playing this great game that we all love. Thanks guys for watching, and we'll see you next time.